What's up, guys? All right, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and start by some of the graded slabs that I've recently picked up with some of that money that I got from trading in those UFC cards. All right, so let's see. I'm not sure what the first slab is going to be, but let's take a look. Boom. The Leafeon V-Star from Crown Zenith. I think that this is an underrated card by far. I think that the recent addition of Prismatic Evolutions is going to ultimately, in hindsight, drive some of these Crown Zenith Evolution alternate arts up pretty high, especially that Prismatic Evolutions Leafeon. That's probably my favorite out of the bunch, aside from, of course, that Umbreon, which is incredible. They, of course, knocked it out of the park with that one and went above and beyond, knowing exactly what it was going to do to people. Those mother truckers. Just kidding. Anyway, so Leafeon V-Star PSA 10. Sick pickup. Clean 10. No whitening on any corners. Sick card. Actually, we'll just go ahead and we'll move it out the way. All right. And next, Charizard and Braixen. PSA 10. That glare's pretty intense, but I'll try to make sure that I keep it so the glare's not in the screen. Good Cosmic Eclipse, Charizard PSA 10. Can't go wrong. Great pickup. I bought both these slabs at a great value. Slab number 2. And this was one that I was sad to lose. When I lost all of my cards, I had an epic copy of this and the Charizard out of the 25th anniversary UPC that I think would have 10'd. This was a very nice copy with no heavy chipping. It just has a good mark to show from the, you can see it right there on the top from where it detached from whatever they, were holding them up by when they were coated with the paint and the gold and all that good stuff. But anyway, I'm going to post above each one of these cards their value. The current value and what I bought them for. So I'm aiming on every purchase to start off at about 15% of value, right? Like I'm going for that, 80, 85%. Of course, if I can get better than that, then I'm going to, but when you're hunting popular or very liked cards, it can sometimes be difficult to do that. But this is a perfect example of a card that I was able to pick up recently that I picked up at an extremely great value. It does have a couple, like I think you can see right there at the bottom right, there's like a small scratch on the slab. And then weirdly enough, it almost looks like the card is like, damn, it is like super weird. I looked it up and it's a legit 9. The back just looks very suspect, but at the end of the day, it's like a $50, $60 card as a PSA 9, and I paid, I think like $10 for it. Pretty sure I paid around $10 for this slab. So, to me, just as like a display collection, the front looks immaculate aside from the little scratch you can see down here in the bottom, which, at the end of the day, the value of the card versus, what I paid for it, it wouldn't be a bad investment at all whatsoever for me to pay to have it reslabbed, even though it's like, this card is one that I'll be honest and upfront with whoever ends up getting it, but I am more than likely going to end up using this card to trade, use the value that I gained in it to trade. So enough for that. And my last graded card, Roranoa Zorro. Super sick card. Has a very high population of 10s, but it's a sick card that I just like, you know, and at the end of the day, some of the stuff that I'm going to collect, you know, I got this at great value and I just think it looks awesome. So for me, those are like the biggest criteria. If I like it, if it looks cool, and I think it's going to end up being worth something in the really long run, because at the end of the day, remember, you know, I'm not just here trying to flip this stuff today, tomorrow. I will take profits where I think it's important to. If I see a card or, you know, a certain set or something like that, just having some kind of an extreme opportunity to be able to take profits and having like some kind of a really unique peak, then, you know, other than that, the majority of these cards are going to be held on to for the next, you know, 15, 16 years. So, Roranoa Zorro. Starting off, one of the other recent pickups that I have, this is just the Snorlax. This is an ETB promo. I actually can't remember off the top of my head which ETB this one comes out of, but this was a very, very nice looking copy. I actually thought this one had a very significant chance of achieving a 10. So that's definitely one that we're going to go ahead and be sending off to the grading pile. Honchkrow V. So Honchkrow V was one of the very first alternate arts that I pulled out of Brilliant Stars. I found this one, like I said, at one of those local little card shows. I'm not going to take it out just this second, but it is a very, very beautiful copy that I think could 10. This is just a card that I want to keep in my collection. I don't necessarily think this card's going to sell for a lot of money if it gets a PSA 10. It's just one that I particularly like. So that one's going to be getting sent off. Another promo, another ETB promo here. Our friend Pikachu. I think this one comes out of the Paldea and Friends or something like that, ETB. I'm probably going to sound so stupid. Just so you guys know, I am legitimately stepping back in. I had to legitimately step away. So some of the recent sets like Twilight Masquerade, Paldean Fates, Temporal Forces, and several others that have recently passed, you know, within the Scarlet and Violet era, I am needing to get some update on. But anyway, I like Pikachu. Before I lost my collection, I had given up quite a few Pikachu, a large Pikachu collection. And so I am going to, obviously now, as you've seen, I've got Gold Medal Pikachu, Pikachu promo here, and then the Pikachu and Zekrom. If you can't tell, a little bit of a theme. Pikachu, I like Pikachu, and it's a wise collecting card because a lot of Pikachu's cards do extremely well. So anyway, moving on. All right, just a couple more. We got the 151 Mew promo. This is such a sick card. Oh, look, I'm seeing something there's something I'm seeing in the picture, but it's not actually on the physical card. Yeah. You can see it right here. It's like, looks terrible, but it's just, it's just in the card. So either way, so that one is going to be going. Mewtwo as well. Mewtwo is a very nice looking copy. The Mew and the Mewtwo, I found very minor imperfections on them. Very, very minor. So we'll see what happens. This is one of the nicer cards that I picked up recently. I did pick it up at that card show. It does look to be in very, very, very good condition. I can't see any whitening on the corners. All the corners look really good. I'm really hoping this card 10s. I'm legitimately, genuinely hoping this card 10s. Gosh dang it, I'm trying to get there we go. This card was one that I used to go, there's a relative that I have who actually owns a card shop. He owns Phoenix Sports Cards in the West Valley of Arizona. And this was a card that he had in his case that I used to look at, and I wanted it and wanted it and wanted it. But it was just one of those more pricier cards. I didn't drop a lot of money on bigger cards. So getting back into collecting when I saw this one at the card show in the condition that it was in and what I was able to buy it for, it was definitely one that I wanted. So this is definitely one I hope gets a 10 at PSA. Wish me luck. And then finally, ba-boom, Charmander. So this was the GameStop stamp promo. I got this card for free. It is currently selling for approximately $50. And if you can get a PSA 10, it is going for a good chunk more than that. So I'm definitely praying for at minimum a 9. But, oh my goodness, this would be an epic card to get back as a 10. This was one that would stick around for a good while. I do like these. So part of what you'll see that is going to basically be my theme for collecting, right? Some vintage that I like, short printed, stamped type of cards, whether they're ETB promos, Pokemon Center ETB promos, collection boxes that have alternate art cards inside of them. And I know that they use special illustration rare, special art rare, whatever. They use a lot of different terms you guys get what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the Kingdra boxes that just came, the Kingdra EX box, like the King Gambits, go just take a look at the Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon special art rare collection, like special illustration rare collection boxes. Look what those did. I mean, those were incredible. Just one card out of each box goes for well more than what they retailed, when they were originally released just a couple of years ago. So anyway, that's it. Hopefully I haven't taken up too much of your time. I really appreciate you guys for stopping by the channel to check out my first video. And next clip, we should be making a submission, getting these cards all sent off to PSA, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope we can add some value. I still need to add some of these cards to like the Shiny app, and do a little bit more math so that way I can prepare to know which ones, which cards I grew, money on, and which ones maybe I didn't add a lot of money on. So anyway, next step. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do a short here. We're going to make a short out of this video when we're done, but stay tuned for the PSA submission, and we'll be back.